Now it's time for everyone's favorite subject, math. Hey everyone, while I'm sure math is not on the top of your wish list for the day, what I wanted to do is dive into some actual real life funnels from other marketers and businesses to show you their pricing points, how they do their upsells and downsells, and most importantly, figure out if your funnel and your pricing points are actually set up for success or failure given how much it costs to run advertising. And by the end of this, you're going to see how important controlling your ad costs are and why you see so many freaking webinars offering $2,000 courses. Because you'll see that the funnel math gets super stupid easy when you just like quadruple your price. So if you're trying to make money with a product that's less than $500, this is really going to be valuable and eye-opening because you're going to see how hard it is to actually build a business. So we're not going to be talking about any stupid passive income crap here. We're going to dive straight in and actually look at the real numbers on what it actually takes to be successful. Now, the good news is, jumping over to my screen here, we're going to be using our sales funnel architect model. I'll link up in the description if you're interested in grabbing a copy for yourself. This is just one of the first tools that we're actually publicly releasing. And you won't have to do any addition, subtraction, or multiplication. We're just going to plug in some numbers and see how the model changes. I always like to make the joke that I don't like math, but I like accounting, because as soon as you put that dollar sign in front of it, the numbers actually start to matter, as opposed to like long division and quadratic formulas I just don't care about them. But as soon as you put that dollar sign, it matters, right? So I'm going to quickly run through what this is, and then we're actually going to go through each one of these different funnels and go through how much they're charging, and then look at how much they might potentially make given their different conversion rates and of course return on ad spend. So before we get into that, we're just going to quickly run through what a typical kind of funnel might look like or what you might be thinking about. So over here on the left-hand side of the screen, we have the core offer, and then we have your order bump and a couple upsells. So this is just how much are you charging for each one of these. I'm going to assume you're doing an online course or service. Of course, this can also work for a physical products business, but again, I'm not an expert there, so I'm just going to assume you're doing courses or a service. So the maximum we could make if they took every single offer we threw in front of them would be $648. I'm going to assume our ad budget is $1,500 a month. And then we're actually going to start running down into what we think our costs are going to be and our conversion rates are going to be. So in the best case scenario, our cost per click is $3. Our worst case scenario, our cost per click is $5. And so that's how we do best and worst case. So I'll just go down one column now. So let's say we're running traffic, we're paying $3 per click, and we are just crushing it with our landing page, right? We get a 65% opt-in rate, which is pretty ridiculous, but you'll see why I put it that high in a second. And then our email CTR, this is an advanced thing we put in if you're doing a long email sequence. This is how many people actually open your sales emails and click through to your sales message. And that's assuming that you have a landing page and then you have your confirmation page isn't your sales page. But we're just going to remove email marketing for simplicity's sake here. So it's going to stay at 100%. Let me just leave that at 100% as well. There we go. And then what is our sales letter conversion rate? This is going to be how many people go ahead and say, you know what? Yeah, I want to buy this product or service. So we're going to say our sales letter conversion rate is at 10%. And then abandonment, it's pretty normal to have people click buy now and then start the checkout process and say, actually better not, right? So we're just going to say on the worst case scenario, 5% of the people who made the buying decision back out at the very last minute. And then these are going to be our conversion rates for our order bumps and upsells. You'll always comment below if I went through that too quickly. I just want to make sure that we get to the fun part, which is plugging in these numbers. So assuming that we get a 65% opt-in rate and we get a 10% conversion rate on our sales letter, you see the best case scenario, we'd be making about $658 per month. So that's our net profit here. So our revenue, if we're adding up all of our upsells and cross-sells or whatever else we're doing, would be $2,100. But of course, we have to take out our ad budget. And of course, I'm assuming you're doing everything yourself, right? You're not paying an ads manager. You're not paying anyone to help you with building and managing your funnel. And so what this does is it looks at, this is the best case scenario, net profit of $658. And the worst case scenario is we'd lose $1,400, right? So if we're going down this chart, if you look at our landing page, and landing page conversion rates. If our landing page conversion rate was 30%, which is actually pretty good, and our sales letter conversion rate was 3%, which is also pretty good, and then we're getting between a 5 and 3% conversion rate on our upsells and order bumps, we would still be losing $1,400 a month. If you can hear the alarms, I do apologize. I don't know what's going on, but we're just going to keep going. And then the center column kind of averages it. So I just wanted to kind of quickly go through this example before we dive into the real case studies to show you that when you are running paid traffic, it's very, very hard to make money with a low price point offer. So for example, if we just took this and we went to $197, right? We just go to $197, all of a sudden we aren't losing as much money, but our average is actually going to start making us some money. And of course, if we do 197, our conversion rates are going to go down. Let's say our landing page stays the same, but maybe our sales letter conversion rate goes to 5%, right? So all of a sudden we can cut our conversion rate in half. Now, yes, we've more than 3x the price, but we can cut our conversion rate in half and still be okay, still making money on average and in the best case scenario. And obviously if we go down to 3%, well, now we're starting to lose something. So with that, let's go ahead and just jump right into our first funnel that we're going to deconstruct. And this is going to be Frank Kern's Getting Consultants Fast funnel. So he has this free book offer. I'm going to do all free book offers just because I think those are really good in terms of understanding how low ticket offers work as opposed to trying to sell that $2,000 course, which we will get to. So we have our sales page, and then we have one upsell. We have upsell number 1 and upsell number 2. And then we also have upsell number 3. And then we have the actual checkout. It starts at $5.60. I think these are great funnels to kind of deconstruct to show you how you can actually be profitable with lower ticket offers. And of course, this swipe file goes through his entire sales page, which isn't really important for our purposes, right? So I'm going to jump cut ahead to where I've got all these numbers inside of this sheet. And just like that, we have all of our numbers plugged in here. So I went ahead and changed the conversion rate for the sales letter back to 10%. So you can see if we were offering some sort of really low ticket offer, or if you're familiar with the digital marketers style, their tripwire offer, if you will, at $5.60, 2 upsells at $100, and 1 upsell at $300, all 3 situations are losing money, right? So let's start playing with these conversion rates to see what we would need to change in order for this funnel to actually be profitable. So the first thing, of course, we could do is look at our cost per click. Let's say we are just magicians, right? And we're somehow able to get our cost per click down to $1. Now, even with all of these numbers, we could be paying $1 cost per click, which is really, really hard to do right out of the gate. But let's say we're just paying $1 cost per click. We'd still be losing $83 a month with this funnel plan. So we'd have to go look someplace else and say, well, maybe our sales letter somehow magically is able to convert at 15%. All of a sudden, we're making a grand total of $675 in the best case scenario, right? Best case scenario. So even if we change our percentage here, worst case to 10%, we're still losing just under $1,500 a month. Now, if this kind of looks sad and depressing, it should, because this is how hard being successful running funnels actually is. Because when you start to do the math, you realize that all those shiny sales letters and all those softwares telling you you're going to make thousands of dollars, just make your fancy funnel and it's going to be all great, it's a pipe dream, right? This is really, really hard, especially when you have a price point this low, which is, again, is why you see a lot of course creators with higher price points, because just trying to sell a book and then having a couple of upsells, it's really hard to make your money back. So let's say, for example, let's go back to, oh, you know what? Upsell, I did all of that and I forgot to add the upsell. So let's say upsell is 5% and upsell is 5%. All of a sudden, now this funnel is actually starting to make some real money on the high end. So I totally forgot to plug those in. But also this shows the importance of upsells. So number one, it's really hard when you have low price point products. And then number two, you're pretty much banking on the fact that the upsells are somehow going to cover your advertising costs. So in the best case scenario, we're saying it's going to cost us $1 per click. So we're going to get 1,500 people to our landing page. 975 of them will opt in. And of those 975 leads that we get, 146 of them are going to actually purchase our product or service. So that's a 15% conversion rate. That is ridiculously high. It's not reasonable for any of us to think that we're going to get a 15% conversion rate, especially out of the gate, right? Now, obviously, which funnel is it? I'm already forgetting, Consulting Fast, so Frank Kern. So obviously Frank Kern, he's been doing this for over 20 years now. So he could probably get rates like this, if not higher, right? But when we're starting out and we're trying this, it's probably not reasonable to think that we're going to get 15% conversion rates, 65% opt-in rates. So I just wanted to show you this because you really need to be realistic with how much you can expect to actually make with your funnels. So let's go ahead rapid fire. The next one we have is from Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game. His actual max transaction value came out the most at $600, just over $600. So if we look at his funnels, this one's built with ClickFunnels. I think the next two are. You'll see that his original book offer is like $795. Here we go. So $795 Tripwire offer, classic Tripwire funnel, and then he's going to go in and have a actual $300 product as the first upsell. The second upsell is another $300 product. And then that's it. He only has 2 upsells. So 300 and 300 plus 795, $600, right? So if we go ahead and take these numbers and plug them into our model, all of a sudden, because our upsells cost more, and assuming we're going to have the same conversion rates, which is unreasonable, but let's just assume, all of a sudden you spend $1,500 and you're making $5,897 a month back. Now I'm going to go back to a reasonable cost per click, which is going to be $3 for a targeted lead, right? If you're paying $3 per click, whether you're doing Google ads or Facebook ads, that's pretty good as a beginner just starting out. Now, yes, you've seen videos, especially here on YouTube, of, oh, I get like 50-cent clicks, right? They don't tell you how many months of this they went through, how many red months they went through before they finally had the green month where they were making just $663 back, right? Everyone likes to talk about how many sales they have, the revenue, but no one likes to talk about how much it costs to actually get that. And so if we come back over here, let's just say because this is a higher price point and there's 3 payments, you're probably gonna have, 5% of people actually wanting to purchase that. And then upsell 3, there is none, so we'll just go ahead and put it at 0. So you would have to have a 15% conversion rate on the sales letter, then you'd have to have a 5% conversion rate on both upsell offers in order to get to $70 in profit for the month. And of course, if we take this back down to 10, you'll see that all of them start losing money. So I hope that this is helpful. If it's not, please go ahead and comment below and just say, hey, you know what? This going through all these different funnels, not really helpful, just too depressing, right? So this is what we're looking at in terms of trying to make a low price point work with funnels, right? So now let's go ahead and say, for example purposes, say we're going to be selling some sort of flagship course, $300 to $500, right? So let's go $297. So we're gonna have a $297 course. Everything turns green, right? Okay, well, hold on. And then our first upsell is gonna be $197. And then our second upsell, let's say it's some crazy echelon package or something, and it's $500, right? And then upsell 3, let's say it's $100 a month. Continuity, average would be 3 months. So let's say that's another $300. On average, someone's gonna stay in for 3 months. So we are going to assume that we get a 1% conversion rate on our upsell number 1, $500, maybe a 0.05%. Sorry, the formatting here is not all that helpful sometimes. And then the upsell number 1, let's say we keep it at 5%, right? And I'm gonna delete that for the worst one, and we'll say 0.025% for the worst case. Okay, fine. Fine, Google Sheets, round up, see if I care. I don't, right? And even though our upsells are higher, you can see that at $300 and a conversion rate at 10%, we are green across the board. And this is why it's just so much easier if your price point is higher. Now, can we expect to have, are we going to say that when a price is $8 and we get 15%, is that 15% going to stay if we jump all the way up to 300? Probably not, right? So if we take this down to say, let's say 2% here, the worst case scenario, best case scenario, I'm gonna go back to 5%, even if we're only getting a 5% conversion rate on our sales letter, that's 16 orders out of the original 500 clicks, we're making $3,200 a month. So should you look at creating funnels where the price points are higher and your conversion rates are lower? Yes, absolutely, because it's so much more work to try and get the volume to make up for the lower front end price point product. I do apologize for all the cuts. Sometimes I have to think here. So that's just an example of why you want to go $297. Now let's go ahead and change it to the webinar price point, because you've watched a webinar and at the very end, it always comes out to $2,000, well, not always, but a lot of the time it comes out to $2,000 for some reason, right? And then let's go ahead and change these for example purposes. We'll go ahead and leave the front part alone, but are you gonna get 5% when you're charging $2,000? No, probably not. Maybe 1%. Let's go crazy and say 1%. And then worst case scenario, you are getting 0.025% here. And of course it's changing it to 0.03, and we have no sales, excuse me, and we have no upsells because we're charging for a $2,000 product. Although if you've gone through the funnels, you know that the 2,000 is just the beginning. They always come up with something else, right? Anyway, not judging how they do things, right? So if we look at our best case scenario, all of a sudden we can have a 1% conversion rate, and we're keeping everything else the same. Out of 500 people, we only need 3 to make $4,000. And we didn't need any upsells, and we have a lot less customer support and headaches to deal with. And so this is the math behind why you see so many courses and so many products priced around that $1,500 to $2,000 mark, because they know that they are going to get such a astronomically lower conversion rate. But even if it's just, what is this, 0.5% of a conversion rate, so I'm doing that off the top of my head, they're still making $1,500 back on their $1,500 investment. And by the way, they have 400 to 500 leads to follow up with and sell other products or services in the future. So if this has been helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. I'll go ahead for the champions out there and go through these next two. So I'm gonna go through Millionaire Morning relatively quickly. So this one is from Lewis Howes, and so it's another book, right? So he's charging $7.99 for his book as opposed to $7.95. And if we go to his upsell page here, you'll see that he has, there it is, $7.90. Oh, there's an order bump for $9.97, and his product is $7.99. Gosh, I can't remember all of these. It's not my job. Okay, here we go. And then his upsell is his monthly inner circle. That seems to be $100 a month. So I'm going to assume that he keeps, on average, the average person stays in for 3 months. So we'll go ahead and change our model here to $7.99, and then our order bump was $9.97, and then we're going to have our upsell number 1 offer at $99 and assume that we have an average of 3 months. So on average, he's gonna make $297, so his max is $314. So obviously everything has immediately turned red, right? Because we're at a 1% conversion rate, and we need to actually add our order bump. So let's say on the order bump, let's go crazy. Let's go crazy with this one. We get 50%, right? And then our sales letter converts at, let's go really crazy, 20% for some reason, right? So we convert at 20%, our order bump converts at 50%, and let's half it at 10% for our upsell offer. And then I'll go ahead and delete these for now. So you'll see, best case scenario, we're getting 65% opt-in rates on our landing page. Our sales page is converting at 20% from cold traffic. It only costs $3 to get a click, and then 50% of the people take the order bump, and 10% of the people go ahead and take upsell number 1 and stay in for 3 months. We spend $1,500 and we wind up making just over $1,100. Now, is this life-changing 10K money? Well, not like this, but here's the kicker. When you are able to get something like, when you're able to get a situation like high, now I'm assuming you can see average and low and you can see what it would actually look like in reality. Let's just go pie in the sky, right? Let's go ahead and say we spend 10 grand a month. 2, 3, there we go, counting right. All of a sudden we're making 8K. And so this is where scaling funnels actually starts to become really profitable. But it doesn't really matter how much you spend if your funnel metrics are always going to be red. You can see here that you can't spend your way into success. If it's not working at $1,500 or $3,000 a month, it's sure as heck not going to work at 10, 20, or 30. But once you have that, this is where you start seeing in those marketing sales letters and marketing sales ads where they say, you know, we made 18,000 or we're making 20K a month. Well, yeah, you're making 20K a month if you spend 25, right? 1, 2, 3. I don't know if you have an extra 25 lying around to make 46. Now, that's a great return on investment. You spend 25 and you get 21 back, right? And it's covering all of the 46 is covering all of your expenses, which is awesome. But you can still see that it doesn't matter how much we're spending, because in the worst case scenario, I don't know what's going on here. That's why we need to go 5%, right? I'm doing all this talking and I'm leaving things at 0. But doesn't matter how much money we spend, we're still losing money. So we'll go ahead and go through this last one here. This is going to be from the funnel hacker himself, Russell Brunson. So this is his original .com secrets book. As a disclaimer, I actually did purchase this book and I thought it was really, really good. I don't remember when the book came out, but it was years ago. And it was just when I think I was still a financial consultant when I purchased this. So he has this book. It's $7.95. Tony Robbins' model pretty much just copies his. He has a little upsell. He has an order bump for $37. That's different than when I first purchased it. And then if we go down here, you'll see that his first upsell is going to be $47. Yeah. So his first upsell is $47. And then his second upsell, okay, he really piles it on. Like he really wants you to make you feel silly if you don't take the $47, right? Okay, and then his second upsell here is going to be one payment of $297 for his traffic secrets. I think he actually came out with a traffic secrets book, so you could probably just buy that book instead of spending $300. But you didn't hear that from me, right? Okay, and we're scrolling. I should probably stop scrolling because there's. Oh, and then he offers it in a split payment if you decide not to purchase it and go straight into actually the training here. So let's go ahead and type in his. I'll go ahead and skip ahead to when I've done that.
1 hour later.
And fixing a little math error on the Google Doc here, now we are good to go. So we have our core offer, which is the book at $7.95. We have our order bump, which is the funnels. Then we have some extra stuff, some more extra stuff for a grand total of $388 absolute max. So coming down to our CPC estimations, I'll leave these all the same. Now for the sales letter, we'll just leave it astronomical, and we'll leave the order bump astronomical, right? So in a crazy, crazy world where people just go crazy for this book because it's so freaking good, you'll spend $25,000 a month and you will make about $24,000 back. So let's go ahead and bring it back down to $1,500 because that's where us normal folk would start out, if not $750, right? So you spend $1,500 and at the end of the day, your revenue would be 28, just under 3,000, and you would make $1,300 in the best case scenario. Now, realistically, when you're just starting, if you have a funnel that's all set up like this, actually, obviously these price points are really good and it's something to model. But let's say in our best case scenario, just getting started, your cost per click and your conversion rates are much more likely to be this column. It's much more likely to cost you upwards of $5 per click to get a good targeted lead. So in this situation, I'm going to change the high column to what I think you could probably get out of the gate. So out of the gate, if you're following YouTube tutorials, you're probably going to get $3.50 to $4, right? So I'm going to say $3.75 on average. And this is going to include just figuring things, $3.75. Wow. So should have done this earlier. Forgot to do that. Oh, wow. So let's just say $3.75, right? So we go from $1,300 down to $7 just by the cost per click, changing slightly. It's actually crazy how much the cost per click can influence the entire funnel. So if we go up to, let's say, $6 a click, something crazy like that. If you're doing Google Ads, you can pay upwards of $50 a click, right? But we're not lawyers and dentists, so we'll leave that alone, right? So looking at it here, you get $3.75 per click, and your conversion rate, you're just absolutely crushing it, would be actually 30%. And if you're trying to figure things out, you're probably still around, let's say, 20%. And already $3.75 per click and a 30% conversion rate on your landing page, and the funnel is losing money. This is hard. This is really, really hard, because with every single one of these funnels, we have been very, very, I'd say, overly optimistic with rates. And you can go look up the averages in your niche or industry, right? But saying, oh, I'm going to get a 30% conversion rate on my landing page right out of the gate, that's pretty non-conservative. I'm forgetting. That's pretty conservative, right? That's really looking at the world through rosy-colored glasses, and then saying, hey, my sales letter is going to convert at 20% right out of the gate. Okay, wow, you're super optimistic. 50% of the people are going to take the order bump. Okay, and then upsell number 1 and 2 is going to be 10% and 5%. That's just so optimistic, and it's good to be optimistic, but in this particular instance, I think this right here is why so many people who actually put in the work and make the $7 offer, the $37 offer, like, it takes so much work to make those upsells, right? And then to have all of that months of work and spend $1,500 to $3,000. Let's say you're crazy, like you have a nest egg and you spend $5,000. You're still losing $1,300, and it's gonna have to be made up some other way, some other place. And so obviously, when we talked about earlier, going to creating funnels where things start at a higher price point is just a necessary business decision in this environment, and considering how much things actually cost. So thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope you got some value out of this video, and you had a little bit of fun of just changing around the numbers and seeing how these funnels can lose money and make money by just little simple tweaks. And that's all what conversion optimization is, right? You look at this and you go, okay, it's in the red, so first thing we got to do is bring this down, right? And then the next thing we got to do is, okay, figure out how do we get the landing page up, and then all of a sudden you're making a little bit of money, and you just little incremental changes. But in the beginning, it's going to be all red. It's going to start off red, and it's going to take a while to get to the green. So if you're interested in picking up a copy of this tool for yourself, it is a paid solution. You go ahead and check out the link in the description if you're interested. Otherwise, just keep rewinding this video and check out how different funnels perform under different variable conversion and click-through rates. Obviously, I'm starting to ramble, so I'll go ahead and end it here. Hit that like button, comment below to let me know you made it till the end, and as always, keep building the business you love.